The history of the 1979 $1 coin begins with a major change in American coinage design, marking the first time in United States history that a woman appeared on a circulating coin. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was introduced in 1979 as part of a government effort to replace the paper $1 bill with a more durable metal coin. The coin was named in honor of Susan B. Anthony, a famous women's rights activist who fought tirelessly for women's suffrage during the 19th century, and played a major role in the movement that eventually led to the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote. The idea for a smaller dollar coin had been discussed for years, as the Eisenhower dollar issued from 1971 to 1978 was large, heavy, and unpopular in daily circulation. The United States Mint sought to create a coin that would be easier to carry and more convenient to use in vending machines. So in 1979, the Mint introduced the new smaller-sized dollar coin, featuring Anthony's portrait on the obverse designed by chief engraver Frank Gasparo. The reverse carried the same design as the Eisenhower dollar, showing the Apollo 11 insignia with an eagle landing on the moon, clutching an olive branch. The coin was composed of copper nickel-clad similar to quarters and half dollars. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was minted at 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and it bore the mint marks P, D, and S, respectively. The Philadelphia coins are marked with a P mint mark for the first time in U.S. history, as coins from that mint previously carried no mark when it was released. The Susan B. Anthony dollar faced immediate criticism. The public found it too similar in size, color, and edge to the quarter dollar, making it confusing in everyday transactions. Many people accidentally used it as a quarter or refused to accept it in stores. As a result, circulation was extremely low, and the government's attempt to replace the dollar bill failed despite its initial intent to modernize currency. The coin became one of the least successful U.S. coins in circulation history. Over 750 million coins were minted in 1979, but very few entered daily use. The coin's design, though symbolically important to the women's movement, was overshadowed by its practical flaws. Vending machines and transit systems slowly adapted to use it, but most Americans preferred paper bills. The Mint continued limited production in 1980 and 1981 mainly for collector sets, after which the coin was discontinued for nearly 2 decades. It briefly returned in 1999 due to a shortage of dollar coins before being permanently replaced in 2000 by the golden Sacagawea dollar, which addressed many of the Anthony coin's issues by using a distinct gold color and smooth edge. The Susan B. Anthony dollar remains a notable chapter in American numismatic history. It represents a key moment when the United States government sought to balance efficiency, progress, and symbolism. The coin honors one of the most important figures in American social reform history. Even though it failed commercially, collectors today seek out certain 1979 varieties, the most notable being the 1979 P-wide rim or near-date version, which features a thicker rim and closer date spacing, making it more valuable than the common narrow rim variety. Proofs from San Francisco also attract interest among collectors. The introduction of the Susan B. Anthony dollar reflected a shift in cultural values during the late 20th century as the nation became more conscious of gender equality and the role of women in shaping American society. Though unpopular in use, its legacy endures through its symbolism and its influence on later dollar coin designs. It also serves as a lesson in how design, size, and public perception can determine the success or failure of a circulating coin. The 1979 $1 coin stands as both a tribute to a great reformer and a reminder of the challenges involved in changing long-standing public habits toward money. It was an ambitious attempt to modernize America's currency system and to honor social progress, and while it did not achieve its intended circulation success, it remains a collectible and historically significant coin that captures the spirit of its time. The Susan B. Anthony dollar remains a fascinating symbol of the late 1970s era of innovation, government experimentation, and recognition of women's achievements, marking a powerful intersection of history, politics, and design. The 1979 $1 coin, also known as the Susan B. Anthony dollar, was created during a period when the United States government was searching for ways to reduce the cost of producing and maintaining paper currency. By the late 1970s, $1 bills had a very short lifespan, often wearing out within 2 years. Coins, by contrast, could last decades before needing replacement. Congress and the Treasury Department believed that introducing a smaller dollar coin would save millions of dollars. In printing costs over time, the success of similar coins in other countries, such as the Canadian dollar coin, inspired the idea to introduce a small-sized metal dollar in America. However, unlike other nations where coin transitions were widely accepted, the American public was deeply attached to the paper dollar and reluctant to change. The decision to feature Susan B. Anthony on the coin came after years of debate over who should be represented. The mint wanted a design that symbolized liberty, equality, and modern American values. Many proposed figures were discussed, including Eleanor Roosevelt and Betsy Ross. But Anthony was ultimately chosen for her lasting influence on women's rights. Her selection was groundbreaking. It marked the first time a real woman, rather than a symbolic figure like Lady Liberty, was honored on a U.S. circulating coin. The design process involved several sketches and models Chief engraver Frank Gasparo had previously designed. The Eisenhower dollar, and was tasked with adapting his existing design to the smaller coin. The portrait of Anthony was based on a well-known photograph showing her in her later years, with a stern but dignified expression symbolizing determination and strength. Gasparo's design on the reverse continued the Apollo 11 lunar landing theme, connecting the coin to American innovation and exploration. When the Susan B. Anthony dollar entered circulation on July 2, 1979, it was promoted as a modern coin. For a modern America, advertisements and news campaigns highlighted its convenience and its tribute to a national heroine. But problems emerged almost immediately. Banks received large quantities, but few customers wanted them. Cashiers and shoppers confused them with quarters, and businesses often refused them in transactions. Despite its unpopularity, the mint produced hundreds of millions of coins, anticipating demand that never materialized. The Treasury ended up storing millions in vaults. As the years went on, it became clear that the Susan B. Anthony dollar would not replace the paper dollar. The government even studied public reactions and found that size, color, and familiarity played key roles in people's resistance. The coin's similarity to the quarter, both in weight and appearance, made it impractical for daily use. Many vending machines also had to be modified to accept it, adding to the costs. Its failure was so significant that the mint halted production after 1981, except for special collector's issues. Yet the coin had some circulation success in specific sectors. Public transit systems, such as those in New York and Washington, D.C., found the dollar coin useful because their machines could be easily adjusted to accept it. Post offices and military bases also used it frequently during the 1980s and 1990s, even as the public continued to prefer paper currency.